Self-protection versus policy. I'm describing the sometimes antagonistic relationship between the act of self-defense, that is the physical element of self-protection, our legal right to defend ourselves from a physical assault, whether it is actually taking place or just prior to it taking place, provided we have an honestly held belief that an assault is about to take place, and the problems an individual might encounter from a person in a position of authority in an institution or the institution itself going back to their actual policies. These policies are often not supported by law. So we're talking about schools, we're talking about businesses, and we're sometimes talking about security firms. And all these were highlighted recently in a seminar that I ran back at my private gym. It was the Animal Instincts teacher training program for children's self-protection that I co-run with my co-creator of the program, Mary Stevens of the Athena School of Karate, also a school teacher. And both of us have regularly heard different anecdotes and come up against issues from people in positions of authority who will discipline individuals who defend themselves. Fortunately, we've also worked with a lot of very progressive head teachers, CEOs, proprietors of companies. So we know that there's a lot of good people out there, but unfortunately, there's a huge amount of ignorance, and goes right back to issues in society with regards to our relationship with self-protection, certainly in the developed world. So I appreciate self-defense laws can vary across the world, although most of them pretty much conform to some very basic principles, and that is that you are legally allowed as a citizen to defend yourself against a violent attack, an unlawful violent attack. So it's not being arrested by obviously a police officer, but if someone tries to attack you, tries to assault you, you can defend yourself. And in most cases, that can be even a preemptive action. And I have quite comfortably taught that in front of many head teachers, many CEOs, many proprietors of companies, and they've been cool with it. And I've also spoke to lots of people involved in the security industry who teach SIA courses, so the legal qualification for people involved in the security industry, where they have to teach the Home Office approved methods. And these individuals will teach those methods, and then they will teach something that's a little bit more responsible in mid to high level risk situations, because often the Home Office approved methods are only really practical when there's more people involved, as in more security professionals involved to assist you, or it's a low risk situation. Often these methods are not only ineffective, but they will actually expose you to more danger. They're very idealistic, but of course a lot of companies like to get behind those because it means that they've got less chance of being sued by the antagonist who the security person's dealing with. We then move that back to schools, and sadly we get situations where teachers of martial arts schools and self-defense schools are getting reports back that pupils are being expelled for defending themselves. There was one situation that was brought up at the course where I heard about an individual who wasn't even using a preemptive action. They were actually being attacked, and it was being recorded on CCTV. They're being attacked from behind by another pupil, and they defended themselves successfully. But unfortunately, that pupil was expelled. And you tend to get this blanket policy about violence. And equally, we have members of staff who aren't allowed to intercede in a violent situation. So a pupil could be facing a life-threatening situation from another pupil, and effectively you've got an adult just standing by watching it. That's what it boils down to, because they can't physically intercede, even though legally they can, but it's against school policy. So these are big issues that we need to address, and it needs to be addressed in self-protection. And this is where, we in many sense, I mean, I always believe that self-protection needs to be apolitical, but in such situations like this, it definitely does need to be political. These issues need to be raised, certainly in a time of escalating violence, and we're seeing that certainly with teenagers in schools. The reports are coming back in that violence is becoming a regular occurrence. It always is a difficult area for children because of the tactile relationships that they have as they start growing up through their preteens into their adolescence, that their sort of tactile relationships, the lines between their boundaries get blurred, and various different situations occur which would be regarded as being assault with adults. But they have their legal right to defend themselves. A school is not a Vatican, even though it sometimes might operate like that in whatever procedures they want to bring in place that aren't necessarily in alignment with the law. If you're attacked, you're physically attacked, you have a legal right to defend yourself and also to report it to the police. So these are important things that individuals need to be informed about. But again, I'd like to emphasize again that we've worked with a lot of really forward-thinking proprietors of companies, directors, CEOs of companies, head teachers who are totally on board with good self-protection teaching, sensible self-protection teaching. As a society, we need to understand that civilians have a right to defend themselves, and they shouldn't be it's important that they understand, obviously, the laws of the land, and that's the reason why we teach these things on our courses. But it is really, really important that they understand where they stand in such situations. So when they're faced by figures of authority, they can do that. This is the reason why we like to get parents on board when we're teaching students, but also why companies, should be for adult self-protection courses, should have their senior members of staff involved on such courses and should be understanding of what it means by self-defense and what that could entail. If you are interested in learning more about self-protection, there is various different ways that you can do that. If you run a company, book my services at CCMA, where I teach personal security and self-defense. If you are involved with teaching self-protection or martial arts and you'd like to be more informed about your teen self-protection, then I urge that you get on board with our Animal Instincts teaching program. At the moment, we've got a wonderful offer on teaching the physical skills program, 72 lessons and just under 5 hours of tuition on the physical skills side of it, including trauma-informed practice for teaching teenage students. Don't just do an edited version of your adult classes. Don't just do an escalated version of your children's classes. Teach teenage self-protection. We also have our 4 to 11-year-old programs as well. But yeah, please be in contact on any of those services. We've got the Club Chimera website, okay, which is on this video, but also check out the Animal Instincts one as well. Thank you for listening, and I hope this has been helpful.